There is a philosophy that places human consciousness above everything else. According to it, the world we call reality may not be real in the way we think. Everything around us, the objects we touch, the people we meet, the places we walk through, may not have an existence of their own. They may simply be creations of the mind. In this view, the only thing that is truly undeniable is consciousness itself. The mind becomes the source of reality. And the moment you hear that, it sounds unbelievable, almost ridiculous. How can the world outside us not exist? How can everything we see, feel, and experience be reduced to a mental construction? It sounds like a theory you dismiss instantly. But the strange part is this: the deeper you go into it, the harder it becomes to ignore. Many philosophers have touched this territory, but two names stood out to me the most: George Berkeley and René Descartes. Descartes did not fully identify himself as a solipsist, but his philosophy opened the door to radical doubt. Berkeley, through subjective idealism, pushed the argument further, suggesting that what we call reality may depend entirely on perception. To understand solipsism, we first need to understand the war behind it: idealism versus materialism. Idealism says reality is fundamentally mental, shaped by consciousness, mind, and perception. Materialism says the opposite, that matter is primary, and even our thoughts, emotions, and sense of self are nothing more than byproducts of physical events in the brain. According to that view, love, fear, pain, memory, hope, everything is just neurons firing, chemicals reacting, electrical signals moving through flesh. The word solipsism comes from solus, meaning alone, and ipse, meaning self. Put together, it means only I exist, or only the self is certain. At its core, solipsism is the idea that the only thing you can know with absolute certainty is your own consciousness. Everything else remains questionable. The world, other people, history, matter, even the universe itself. You can call it consciousness, awareness, self, mind, or soul. In Indian philosophy, there are echoes of this in ideas like Atman and Maya, where the self is central and the outer world may be illusion. Now think about Descartes' most famous line: "I think, therefore I am." But if you sit with it, it becomes far more unsettling. What Descartes is really saying is that thought is the only undeniable proof of existence. I cannot be completely sure that the world is real. I cannot be completely sure that this body is real. But the fact that I am thinking, that I am aware, means that I, in some form, must exist. Then comes the idea of dreams. If a dream can feel real while we are inside it, then what gives waking life its authority? How can we be certain that this reality is not just another layer of experience? That same doubt is why stories like Inception feel so powerful. Imagine this. In your dream, you are inside a plane. You hear the engine. You feel the vibration under your seat. Then suddenly, something goes wrong. You lose control. You fall. In that split second, terror feels real. Motion feels real. The drop feels real. And then, you wake up. Now ask yourself, were you ever truly on that plane? Did you actually fall? No. None of it existed outside your experience. But while it was happening, your mind made it feel completely real. That is where solipsism becomes deeply unsettling. Maybe consciousness is the only thing that truly exists, and everything else is just the stage it builds. In its strongest metaphysical form, solipsism goes even further. It says that only I truly exist, and everything else, every face, every voice, every city, every memory, every star, exists only within my awareness. Reality is not something outside me. Reality is something happening inside experience. It sounds extreme, But it cannot be dismissed that easily, because it touches questions that philosophy and spirituality have wrestled with for centuries. There is another possibility. Maybe the world does exist independently, but our understanding of it is limited. Maybe the problem is not that reality is fake, but that our access to truth is incomplete. My own view stands somewhere in the middle. I am not saying consciousness is false, and I am not saying the outer world is the only truth. I am only saying this: we should be careful before calling reality an illusion, because we still do not know the full reach or the full limits of the mind. And then comes the most personal question of all. If I had to choose, would I want this world to be real, or would I want it to be an illusion created by consciousness? Strangely, part of me would choose the illusion, because in that possibility, the mind becomes something vast, mysterious, almost godlike. And that is why the question echoes long after the words end. Because when everything else becomes uncertain, one truth still remains, I think. Therefore, I am.